Taking a long inhale, we're going to rise up. We're moving into sun salutes here, Surya Namaskara. Over the legs we go. Just keeping those feet so that they are that sitting bone distance apart, flowing with the head, letting it release. Hands are soft here, no weight through the hands. And then planting the hands, bending knees as much as you need to get there. Step one leg back at a time to move into a plank pose. In your plank pose, you can come on your knees or stay in a straight line. It's totally up to you. And we're going to come down through chaturanga or low push-up. Slide the heart forward, take a cobra pose, lifting through the shoulder blades, through the shoulders, the back, and then tuck your toes under and squeeze those abdominals to reach back into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And then step or hop your feet all the way forward once again. We're going to take that sun salute again. Rise to stand. And then take your hands to your heart right here. Inhale, up we go. And then over the legs. Inhale as you lengthen up in your spine. And then fold yourself together. Plant your hands and step it back. Coming into your plank pose. Shoulder blades firm on your back. If you're coming into this pose on the toes, I want you to shift your weight forward a little bit and then lower through chaturanga. Slide up and take your cobra again. Really plastering the heart forward. Heels can release out to the sides if that feels better on your back. And then tuck your toes and reach back for downward facing dog. Big breath right here. And then we're going to come into one more sun salute just like that. Stepping all the way to the front of the mat. As many steps as you need to get there. Head is releasing once again. And then we reach the arms. Come all the way to stand. Hands at your heart. Inhale. Exhale over the legs. Using that breath. Inhale as you lengthen the spine. Exhale, maybe repeating the mantra, Lamb. Step it back, maybe alternating the feet as you come into that plank pose. Melt the heart, lower, chaturanga. Remember, you can be on the knees or in that straight line. Come forward and take your cobra pose. And then reach the hips back. Downward facing dog. We're going to take the left leg and lift it up to hip height. Big reach up there. Paying attention to the hands and the shoulder blades once again. And then swing that knee so that the foot lands right between your hands. Stacking your knee right over your ankle. We're going to release the back heel to the floor. So as you do that, I want you to have a look and see that your knee is pointing towards your toes on that back leg. That the knee is stacked right over the ankle on the front leg. And then we're going to reach the hips up. You may need to turn the foot more inward, because we're going to come through Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. Reaching the arms up, shoulders sinking, breathing. Take another breath right here. And then we're going to frame that front foot, release the hands down, and step back. So you have an option here. You can move through a vinyasa, which is flowing through half of a sun salute, and then coming back. Or you can come right into child's pose, either with knees together or knees apart, your choice. Or, of course, you can come straight to downward facing dog. So do what feels right for you. Reach your right leg up, push it toward the ceiling. The toes are pointing straight down at the floor here. And then the foot swings through. We land it between the hands. Remember, it won't always land between the hands. That's perfectly okay. Drop your back heel. Remember, it's a little more forward in this position. And then we reach the arms up, stacking the knee over the ankle, having a look down to make sure that you see your front big toe in this position. We're reaching arms up alongside the head once again. You might look up towards the hands if that's feeling good for your neck. Dropping your back heel toward the floor and breathing. Lamb. And then release the hands. This time we'll step the feet forward to the top of your mat. Hanging in Uttanasana once again, and then we rise to stand. Big inhale, arms come up, frame the head. We might look up at the hands if that's feeling good for your neck. And then hands pull together in front of your heart. Big breath up, and over the legs we go. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale to fold yourself together again. Plant your hands and step it back, either moving into downward facing dog or through your vinyasa. Lowering if you're coming through the vinyasa, plastering the heart forward. You might be in cobra pose with the knees on the floor, or you might lift the knees and thighs from the floor to come into an upward facing dog. And then we drop the knees, tuck the toes, reach it back, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up again. Pull it in, knee to the chest, and then land your foot. Drop your back heel. We're moving back into our warrior one and reaching the arms up alongside the head. Long reach up, sink into the hips a little bit more here. Thinking about that activation in that root chakra, that color red, that breathing going through there. And another breath. Release the hands on either side of the front foot, stack them, and then come back into the plank, or into downward facing dog, or into child's pose. Lower chaturanga. Elbows stay tucked right into the side body as we come through that vinyasa, and back we go. Breathing. And lifting the right leg to hip height. Swing it through, tucking knee into the chest as you come with the foot to the center of the hands. Drop your back heel, and up we go. Warrior one more time. Reach the arms, breathe with sound, making any little adjustments as you go through this that you might need to make for your body. So if it doesn't feel good, adjust. Release hands down on either side of the front foot and step forward. We're going to take the feet again, getting them sitting bone distance apart, letting the head release, breathing with sound. We're going to hold here for 5 breaths. I would like to invite you to either keep your hands down on the floor. Maybe you're going to lift and hold on to opposite elbows and let the back release, getting a little more heaviness through the spine. And you might even come a little swinging motion through that spine. Never losing the breath as you go. We're going to release hands down on either side of that front foot again. This time we're going to take our left foot and place it on over the right foot so it comes right outside. We're going to squeeze the legs together as if you're tying a rope. Release your toes. You don't need them here. Let them go. Let the head release once again. Breathe. And we're going to walk hands over towards the left, away from that left foot that's crossed. Getting a little twist through the spine, a little opening through the flank on the right side of the body. And then bringing the hands forward once again. Uncross your legs, bringing them back into that neutral position with the heels right under the sitting bones. And then cross your right leg over your left. Again, get that squeeze to the center. Breathing, releasing the head. Noticing any sensations that you're feeling in your body and just allowing them to happen. Walking the hands over towards the right, away from that right foot now. Keeping the knees squeezing towards the center, opening up through the left side, left flank. Another breath right here. Long exhale. And then on your inhale, coming back into that neutral position, stacking the heels right underneath the hips once again, letting the head hang. I want you to take your hands and place them over your back now and interlace your fingers. The base of the hands might come together as you bring the hands up overhead. If that feels too tight with the shoulders, you can always let the heels of the hands come apart and reach up. You want to be pulling those shoulders back once again, noticing the sensations through the shoulders, noticing whether or not you're working in your neck. We have a habit of doing so even when we don't need to. Breathe, and then release your hands. We're going to go through the vinyasa, starting by standing tall, reaching the arms up high, and then bringing the hands to the heart. Inhale as you come up. Exhale over the legs. Moving back into our plank pose. And then taking the pose that's right for you, moving through chaturanga or low push-up. Sliding forward for cobra or up dog. And then back we go. Downward facing dog. Bring your left leg to hip height. And swing it all the way through. Land it. Release the back heel, moving back into your warrior one. Rising with the hands, framing the head, sinking in maybe a little deeper. Really push hard on the back edge of that back foot and breathe with sound. Once again, engaging your bija mantra, imagining that swirling ruby red energy right at the very base of your spine. And then we come over the leg. We're going to stay right here, and we're going to bring our left hand right outside that front foot. You can be up on your fingertips. You could also be on a block here. So a block is a handy tool for getting a little more height. And then reaching your right arm up high, opening your chest, opening your throat, and breathing with sound. Stacking that right arm right over the left. Stacking knee over the ankle in side angle pose. This top arm can reach overhead if that's feeling good for you, and you can look up into that bicep. You want to be really sinking the shoulder into the socket as you come into that position. Noticing the breath, and then releasing. Hands frame the front foot, moving the block away, getting ready for the other side. Stepping into your plank pose and lowering chaturanga, elbows stay tucked, up into your cobra and back, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg and then swing it all the way through. Releasing back heel, getting ready for Vira Madrasana 1, Warrior 1. Rising with the arms, framing the head, sinking into that position. Hips are staying parallel to the front of the room where you are. We're sinking in maybe a little bit deeper, noticing the back edge of the back foot, really pressing into the floor. Breathe. And then releasing the hands to either side of that front foot. We're going to keep the right hand right outside that front foot as we open into side angle pose. So you're reaching the left arm over the right, really opening up through the side body. You might look up at the hand, let the shoulder sink in, and maybe come across the ear. Maybe you look up into that bicep, making length right from the fingertips to the back of the heel. Noticing if you're still using that sound in your breath. And then releasing the hand down, framing that front foot once again, stepping forward, feet together, top of the mat. Rise. And then bring your hands into your heart, mountain pose. We're going to come into what's called malasana. This is a deep squat position. So I'm just going to get you to widen out your toes so they're coming out. Your knees should be facing your toes. We're going to take the hands into the heart and we're going to start sinking. If you have longer legs, they'll be wider. If your legs are shorter, they'll be in more. So as we come into this pose, you might want to make little adjustments with the body. to be in the proper alignment for you. And we find ourselves in this deep squat. If you are a person who has knee issues, you're going to stay up higher than this. You could also use the block once again to bring your glutes down on it, in which case that would look something like this. And what that does is takes the weight off of the knees while you're getting the position that we want to be in. As you do this, I want you to push your elbows into your thighs and your thighs back into your elbows. So you've got a lot of strength building in there. Shoulder blades are once again opening through the chest, coming down the back. Maybe you close the eyes and breathe. Repeating your Bija mantra in your head. Lamb. 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 And then dropping the hands in front of you, fingertips to the floor. We're going to lift up through those knees and let the head hang once again. Walk your feet in so that they are about that sitting bone distance apart again. And we're going to take hands over the back again, thinking about those base of the hand coming together as we lift the fist toward the ceiling. Releasing toes once again. And then releasing the hands down in front of the feet. We're going to once again come into a squat. This one is going to likely be off the heels. So we're going to come up onto the toes and you'll be sitting in this position. So again, we're getting at the root chakra right at the very base of that spine. If you can sit back on your heels, do so. You can also, another handy spot to take a block, take them right under the heels. And what that does is it's kind of like wearing a pair of heels, right? So you're pulling into the midline. Hands can come right at the heart once again, sitting into this squat. Breathing with sound. And I'll show you that from the side as well, so that you can get an idea of what you're doing. So if you're coming without the block, you most likely will be on your heels, off your heels, sorry, coming into this position. Nice length through the spine here. If you'd like to take the block under the heels, just allows you to sink in, get a little bit more relaxed, obviously, in this pose, and taking hands to the heart once again. Long, deep breaths, shoulders down the back, lengthening the spine on every inhalation. Every exhalation, relaxing into it a little bit more deeply. Take a couple of deep breaths right here. And then we'll take the hands back to the floor and start to lift the legs, removing the block if you have it under the heels, and hanging once again in Uttanasana, forward fold. Take another breath. Long exhalation. And we're going to step our left leg to the back. So I'm just going to come sideways on the mat like this, or more of an angled pose so that you can see a little bit better. And we're going to release our back knee down to the floor. So as you come with the back knee on the floor, you can drop the top of the floor, which will allow the kneecap to be a little more flat, and it's more comfortable for most people. And we're just going to sink the hips toward the floor a little bit more deeply. So getting into the hip flexor specifically, this iliopsoas muscle right at the front of your hip is really helpful for back pain. This muscle attaches to the lower part of the spine. So when they get really tight from a lot of sitting, what happens is it pulls against the spine and creates a lot of back pain. So when we do a pose like this, we're allowing those hip flexors, iliopsoas, to stretch out and lengthen again. One of the big issues in our society these days is how much we sit. It's a huge health issue, believe it or not. And it can be corrected with things like getting up and moving through the day instead of just being seated at your desk for long hours, or taking some yoga classes, that kind of thing. Now we're going to just tuck those back toes if you put the foot flat and step forward, feet together, top of the mat, and then we'll take that to the other side. So step your right leg back, and then we will release that knee. So just pay attention to what your body needs right now. So top of the foot might be on the floor. We're framing that front foot. If that doesn't feel good for you to frame the front foot, you can bring your hands up and just, adjust yourself. It's always good to experiment with your body and adjust what you need. We're all different and we all have different needs. So as you take this pose, stretching out through that hip flexor, you might be sinking more towards the floor, but if your hips are really tight, you're not going to be sinking. You'll be more upright, and that's perfectly okay. I want you to pay attention to the length in your back, to those shoulders once again. Move them away from your ears. We don't want to be crunching up around the shoulders in any of our poses. We always want to be making space in the body. Take a couple more deep breaths right there. Long exhalations. And then we're going to push off those back toes and bring the feet together at the top of the mat once again. Let yourself hang in Uttanasana. And then we'll step the left foot back. So I'm just going to reposition myself so I'm more on the mat. And we're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. I want you to once again get the length through the back of the neck, lengthen your spine and hinge at the hips, allowing the hands maybe to come underneath the shoulders. You can bring them to a block if that doesn't reach. Remember, a block has 3 heights, so you can get pretty high. If you have 2 blocks, that would even be better here because you can have one under each hand. And just let yourself go. Allowing the breath to move. And thinking about stacking your hips so that they are in line with the heels. So sometimes people will even take their edges of their heels right to the edge of the mat and just get the length through the spine, fold yourself forward. It doesn't really matter how deeply you get. It's more about the length in the spine, that separation between all of our vertebrae, and then letting the head release. No weight in the hands here, so they're just touching the floor, helping us to stay balanced. The feet face forward, taking 3 more deep breaths. Maybe you're sounding the breath as we did at the start of class using your Ujjayi Pranayama, or ocean sounding breath. Releasing the shoulders, releasing the neck. Long exhalation. And then take each of your hands up to your hips. We're going to rise up, squeezing those abdominal muscles, getting that brace through the abs once again. And then step your feet together at the top of your mat. Reach the arms up high, big inhale. And then swan dive over the legs. Inhale as you lengthen your spine. Exhale as you fold. Plant your hands and step back. Coming into your plank pose. Shifting the weight onto the tiptoes and lowering through chaturanga. Coming up into your cobra pose. And then back into downward facing dog. I'd like you to step or hop your feet. Bring them right to the top of your mat. And then have a seat. So how you get there, your mode of transportation, is completely up to you. And we're going to just come once again into a seated position for a moment here and just notice how your body feels right now. Noticing any feelings of tension. Noticing any feelings that you're blocked anywhere. Long exhale. And then we're going to take both feet out front. So as you come into this position, we're going to just shift forward a little bit. You can do one of 2 things. You can just Grab your sitting bone flesh and move it away from the sitting bones, or you can scoot yourself forward and that'll move the sitting bone flesh away. We're going to take the hands and just place them beside the body for now. We're going to pull those shoulders back, sitting up nice and straight in forelimb staff pose. You can close the eyes and just become aware of what it feels like to sit in this position. It's not super comfortable, right? Even though while we're doing it sitting, it's an interesting position to come into. As you inhale, get length in your spine once again. As you exhale, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the eyes. Next inhale, we're going to get that length, and this time we'll start to fold over the legs. Keep the length through the back of the neck. You're thinking about hinging at the hips as opposed to rolling. So you're getting the length and then folding yourself. Hands can come anywhere along the legs that feels good for you. I want you to look down towards the legs and then just keep folding as you inhale, you lengthen. As you exhale, maybe you fold that tiny, tiny bit deeper into this position. Your knees can be soft. And as you inhale, I want you to notice how the back of the body puffs a little bit. And you move out of the pose that little bit, and then you move back in as you exhale. Take 3 more deep breaths right here. And then sit up tall, reaching up toward the ceiling. Get that length through the spine once again. Breathing, maybe closing the eyes and finding that settling within the body, within your core of your being. We're going to shift over now onto the back. I would like you to come onto the back, and as you do so, you can use your hands, of course, to help you down. Or you can, use the belly as a brace if you want a little abdominal work there. So coming onto the back, we're going to start to tuck the shoulders under the body a little bit. We're going to lift the hips up. As you come into this position, I want you to think about drawing the knees toward each other so that they're that sitting bone distance apart again. And our knees are going to stack over our heels. We're going to maybe tuck under a little bit more. If you feel like it, you can hold the hands back there and start thinking about clearing through this hip flexor on the front part of your body. Your gaze comes right up to the ceiling. We push into the upper arms to get that engagement with the floor, using the arms to lift the sitting bones a little bit higher, and sound your breath, maybe using your mantra. Lam. Letting the belly open up as you inhale. Long exhales. 2 more breaths right here. And then we're going to untuck the shoulders, release the hands if they're there, place the palms face down on the floor, and then begin to release 1 vertebra at a time, rolling yourself down towards the floor, letting your tailbone, where that root chakra lives, to release last. I'd like you to pull your knees in and give yourself a nice big squeeze, breathing with it. And then we're going to release 1 leg long on the floor, keeping the other knee tucked in as we come into wind relieving pose. Using this time to catch your breath, to focus inward, noticing how the body feels. And then using your left hand to hold on to the right side of the knee, we're going to expand the right arm out towards the side, turn the palm so it faces down, and guide that knee across the body to come right up onto the hip. You can be looking over at the right hand. The shoulder shouldn't be lifting off the floor. So let it release right down to the floor. The knee doesn't have to come far. You're coming into a restorative twist here. This is meant to feel good. And again, noticing the breath in the body. And then lifting that knee, releasing the leg, and bringing the other knee to the chest. Pulling in, taking wind relieving pose on the second side. You might have the eyes closed, bringing your awareness more inward as you take this pose, deepening the breath. Take 2 more breaths right here. And then we're going to release the left hand along the side, palm facing the floor, keeping that shoulder engaged with the floor, using your right hand to guide the left knee across the body, maybe looking over towards the left hand if that's feeling good for you. Two breaths right here. And then we lift that leg up once again. We're going to take soles of the feet to the floor, drop the hands down on about a 45-degree angle from the body. Draw the knees together for a moment and just let your hips and your low back settle towards the floor. If you want to shake them out a little bit or wiggle them side to side to let that settling happen a little more deeply, you can. And then we're just going to take the knees apart and windshield wiper the knees. One knee to the floor and then the other. You can release the knee out to the side as you do that. Just noticing once again how that feels. And then we're going to take both knees and face them to the ceiling. Draw the knees together once again. So your feet are in a tented position. They're about mat distance apart with the knees drawn together. This is a perfect position to take Shavasana if you have any low back pain. Otherwise, you can bring mat distance apart. Hands about 45 degrees away from the body. We're facing the palms up in this position, tucking the shoulders under a little bit just to allow the body to relax. And then maybe you rock the head side to side several times just to allow that relaxation through the neck once again. And then coming into stillness, making any adjustments to the body that you need. I want you to stay laying down. I'm going to sit up. And we're thinking about, once again, the engagement with that root chakra. So as we come into Shavasana, if you need clothes on, need a drink, anything at all, please go ahead and take it. You want to be completely comfortable as you move into Shavasana or corpse pose. And we're going to do a little bit of a meditation for that root chakra today. I'm in a hot, humid July day today, so if you're not in that condition, you may need to put a blanket over you if that's appropriate for when you're taking this. Otherwise, just finding that peaceful position, closing the eyes if that's comfortable for you, and letting the shoulders, the hips, the legs relax completely. Letting the feet splay out to the sides so that you can relax the hips a little bit more. And then I would like you to draw your attention into that root chakra area. So thinking about right at the tailbone of the spine, or even slightly forward from that where the perineum lives. And start to imagine a swirling red energy. This can be a ruby red energy that's swirling, opening up this chakra, providing you with a sense of peace, of safety and security. Knowing that all your base needs will be met because the universe provides. And just keeping the focus there on that root chakra, noticing as you focus in this area any sensations that might come up, whether you're noticing the color red coming into your mind more, not judging yourself if you're not noticing anything at all. Know that even if you don't feel anything or see anything in your mind's eye, you're still opening this chakra. The process still works. Relaxing the body a little bit more, feeling completely supported by Mother Earth. And if you're visualizing this color, this red color at the base of the spine, notice it growing brighter and more vibrant. Bringing balance to this area, to this chakra that is the foundation of the other major chakras. Knowing that we need to feel safe and supported first before we can open up for creativity, for love, for our higher power. It's allowing that sensation if it's happening for you. Remembering if it's not happening, that's perfectly okay. Just be here in this moment, relaxing, allowing yourself this moment. And find the peace within you. I would invite you to stay here for as long as feels appropriate for you. If you would like to come out now, you can. You're just going to again move your awareness into that chakra. Mentally repeat the mantra, Lam, Lam, Lam. Getting that activation again. And mentally telling yourself, my chakra is at the perfect opening for me. And then be in that position. Or you can start to roll over to the side body. Use your hand to pick you up into a seated position. Just coming to that tall seat in Sukhasana once again, as we started with, coming full circle. Congratulating yourself on taking this first class of the week and telling each other mentally, of course we can't see all of each other, but giving yourself and the others in this process with you a namaste. And I will talk to you later today or tomorrow. Have a great day and stay true to yourself and stay strong. Rena.